is the Single African Market Program. It is the continent of Africa's most trusted and #1 media platform that has chronicled all actions around the vision of Africa to create one market for its citizens, for its nations. And for the past 56 weeks, we have endeavored to bring you all actions from the fields, from farms, from conference rooms, from boardrooms, from companies, from hotels, and all of that. We have told you the stories of Africans who are gearing and preparing to trade in one continental market, and we have to thank you for tagging along the journey to bring us this far, because today you and I can celebrate. The continent of Africa have put in place and have made available all the necessary tools and instruments that you require to trade under the AfCFTA. Thanks a lot to the AfCFTA Secretariat and the hard work and stuff that they have there. They have been able to come up with the Rules of Origin Manual, for instance. They've come up with the e-tarrif book. All are seated on the website of the AfCFTA Secretariat, which is headed by His Excellency Wamkele Mene. The AfCFTA Secretariat is also leading a guided trade, which is bringing together 7 African countries who are prepared and ready. They have ready with their offers and ready to trade under the AfCFTA. So this guided trade is more or less going to be like a model or a pilot where companies in Ghana, for instance, will be trading, will be sending their goods to, say, Yaoundé in Cameroon, or Cairo in Egypt, or say Mombasa in Kenya, to trade under the AfCFTA. And right after that, that is supposed to send a signal to you that indeed AfCFTA is functioning. Now, even before that final guided trade will be officially launched on the 26th of September, the AfCFTA Secretariat is telling everyone that even now you can approach your national AfCFTA office and find out how you can trade under the agreement, the continental agreement, and it should be possible for you to trade. This week, I engaged the Principal Communications Advisor to the Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, the Head of Communications at the AfCFTA Secretariat, Ms. Grace Koza, to find out a lot about some of the tools and instruments, their purposes or their functions, and how you and I can take advantage of them to be able to trade without barriers and without duty on the continent of Africa. Day in and day out, there is something new that is propelling this vision of the continent to integrate. The last time we spoke, you talked a lot about some tools and some big announcement that we are to expect from the Secretariat.
Yes, we talked about some of the instruments that we, at the time, were intending to launch or announce to the public, and one of them being our website.
Yeah.
And that's been a very, very important one to put out there, because now, for the first time, we've got a website that we ourselves are very proud of. It's looking very sleek and clean, but importantly, it's got the right information that, as I indicated, will empower each and every citizen in this continent who want to access and know what we are doing as the Secretariat.
Offering a modern and user-friendly interface, whether on a PC or smartphone, the AfCFTA website, au-afcfta.org, allows users to easily navigate and get more detailed information and tools regarding intra-Africa trade.
Okay, that's good, because quite a number of people have been asking, where do I go source for this? If they've launched that, where do I see it? After launching it publicly or having the ceremony, how do I have access to all of that? So beyond the website, what are some of the other tools that you have available that people can use to trade on the continent?
Absolutely. So let me go back to the website. The website is au-afcfta.org.
That's the address.
That's the URL address of our website. So no
you can repeat that.
au-afcfta.org. Not .com, not .net.
.org.
.org.
ORG.
ORG. And that's important, because I think we you know, as I indicated the last time, we were in the wilderness for a while, even though we were established, and some creative people started creating websites
for you,
for us, and now we finally can officially say we've got our own approved, legitimate website where, you know, people can go and find information.
Okay. So let's talk about, now we have a website. Yes. We want to know the tools, the instruments that are on the website, which are going to facilitate trading continentally. We heard about the launch of the e-tarrif book, for instance. We also heard about the launch of the Rules of Origin manual. Are these tools or instruments on the website? What else is on the website?
Those tools are on the website. And we do also have, trading documents that people, if you want to start trading, for example, the certificate of origin, all of those tools are also on the website. What's important, Sam, is that we didn't just put the instruments, as I indicated even the last time when we were repositioning our brand, just for the sake of putting them there. We put them there so that we are created to do, to empower and appreciate the transparency of this process needed to really be at the forefront of why we're doing what we did. So all these tools are there on a public space, our website, so that there's transparency. Yeah. So if I want to know about the tariff that will be imposed on a certain product in Sierra Leone or Egypt, Cameroon, I go there to the website and I could just download that information and I will find it. If I want to know about maybe importing some product from my country to another country, to find out how that product, how much that product will be, what would be the tariff charge on that product, I go to the website and I find that information. So it is really to help to ensure that this that we're created for, to really create the intra-trade in the continent, it's done, but in the most effective and transparent manner possible.
Yeah. And for a lot of people who don't understand what these tools are, what these instruments are, what are the purposes of, let's start with the Rules of Origin manual. Absolutely. Because we understand that the Council of Trade Ministers or the trade ministers of the continent have been able to negotiate 87.7% of the Rules of Origin. Now we have a manual. What is this supposed to do?
I'll give an example so that it makes it easier.
Easy.
So you've got a bottle and you want to find out where it originates from. And we all agree, you and I agree and say it's a 250 milliliter bottle, and we are going to put that on the bottle, that this bottle is 250. For us to even get to that agreement, that is a 250 milliliter bottle, there needs to be some negotiations to say, yeah, this is it. We both agree it's a 250 milliliter bottle. But also the elements that make up this bottle, are the raw materials coming from Africa? Are we saying maybe a bit of manufacturing was done somewhere because we don't have that? But remember, part of our agreement is also to propel industrialization in the continent. Yes. So while we are appreciating that we might not be there yet, but the transparency of what we're negotiating about around the rules of origin also help us to be conscious of the fact that we now need to be more than just suppliers of raw material, but also have the capacity and the capability of manufacturing and add value. So the rules of origin gives you that if I say, this spinach comes from Ghana,
I should be able to tell that indeed it comes from Ghana.
Coming from Ghana. It's planted, it comes from the soil of Ghana. Maybe the product, the end product, the value add out of that, maybe with the spinach pie, maybe the pastry of that spinach pie, 40% of it comes from another country. But all of that is transparent. Yeah. So then you talk about genuinely made in Africa with full appreciation of what that entails. Okay. What that looks like. So it helps because if I'm sitting and I'm a trader and I want to understand that, okay, so that we avoid third countries, third parties, literally finding means and ways of infiltrating our own created agreement for their own benefit, not for our benefit. That transparent information helped me understand. But it's also empowering for the customs officials at our borders because then they know that, no, this is a genuine made in South Africa, made in Ghana product. Yeah. It helps understand and create a sense of appreciation that this is authentically African products that are meant to be traded for the benefits of the Africans.
Good. And then the e-tarrif book, what is it supposed to do? why was it important? Last week in the last episode, for instance, we spoke with the World Customs Organization Secretary General, and we were made to understand that you had signed an MOU with the WCO, and then you were able to come out with the e-tarrif book. What's in there?
That's the most beautiful part about it, secondly, also, is that another transparent measure. So, you know, countries impose tariffs on these products that are imported and exported. So for the first time, you're able to know that, oh, okay, so if I'm going to trade on this product, this is the amount.
The tariff on it.
That will be, you know, imposed on it. It takes away also that feeling of unease.
Yeah.
You know, I always say, making the example of the cross-border women. You get in the border, you're told that there is a tariff imposed on the product that you want to trade with.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you didn't even budget for that. Now, sitting at home, you will know. You will know that this is the amount, the tariff that is imposed on this particular product, and for the product that you also as a country would receive. But here's the beauty about this process, Sam, is that all of that is negotiated by member states. The tariff, it's literally member states who are now saying, as per the agreement, we have agreed that 90% of the tariff you know, fees will be at some point, well, at least for now, for the next 5 years, we're working towards a process of making sure that 90% of that is erased. Just an understanding that we're working towards 100% free trade area with no tariff barriers. But in the process, because we appreciate that we're a developing continent and we've got a lot of our country members who need that assistance, we've given the timeline of 5 years for those who are in a position to do so. And then for the least developed countries, we've also given them a bigger, long time for them to then comply with what we envisaged as part of the agreement in the AfCFTA. But what I appreciate for me sitting here is that it is made sure that each and every person, it could be a student who's thinking of one day getting into business, as for now, with whatever product they're thinking of, they can log into the website and get a sense of how much tariff is imposed on that particular product that they want to trade on.
That's great because it brings a lot of certainty if you're doing business.
Absolutely.
You know what is on your product elsewhere that you intend to trade and all of that. So we have e-tarrif book, we have a rules of origin manual, and I'm told that you're also going to have a guided trade.
Yes.
Why is that important? Because I was thinking that once we have these tools or instruments, folks on the continent should begin to trade on their own. Why do we have a guided trade coming up?
Some of the most important part about this agreement is the responsibility or the onus on our member state. We as a Secretariat provide a platform for negotiation so that all of these standards, all of these instruments that are agreed upon as outcomes of those negotiations can then add to activate and take advantage of the agreement. We don't do that. We don't run the customs. We've got our member states doing that. So what that helps is that we appreciated the fact that, you know, some countries have been very enthusiastic and made sure that from a customs point of view, they're ready. They did not only just ratify the agreement, but they also prepared on the ground their customs officials or customs regulatory framework to be ready for all of these to happen. So the guided trade is literally a proof of concept to say to the continent and the world, now that we've got these instruments, it's possible. It is possible for your own business people to start trading in the continent. So we've got a couple of countries that have literally indicated that they're ready and they want to be part of this guided trade. It is called a guided trade because our responsibility is not to nudge or encourage or even create rooms for trading. But as I said, it's a proof of concept to show that it can be done. So under the guidance of the Secretariat, we are showing this to the world with the countries that have indicated that from a customs point of view, from the regulatory point of view, they're ready to participate.
Okay, so this is supposed to direct, or as you put it, guide businesses and traders how to trade under the AfCFTA. And after that, we are hoping that businesses should be able to do that on their own, having been guided.
We know they would. There is an appetite. In actual fact, the challenge that we have as a Secretariat is that businesses are telling us, we're ready. even for those countries that haven't really prepared themselves, the business people in those countries, they're like, we want to take advantage of this agreement. Yeah. So now we know that by showcasing this, by showing this proof of concept, that is possible, that there will also be pressure, you know, within those countries coming from the business people, men and women of this continent, who will be saying to their governments, where are you? We want to take advantage of this agreement.
Okay. So now we have all of that sorted. The folks who are going to trade are in countries, they're in these party states, member countries. Yeah. Fortunately, though, I hear that almost every country or every party state has a national office of the AfCFTA Secretariat. What should businesses, or how should businesses engage these national offices, and what is expected of the national offices? How can they connect with businesses there? And to what extent are you also, the Secretariat, the Continental Secretariat, connected with the national offices?
My brother, that's an important question, because if you are going to talk about access of information, access of support for business people, you know, the agreement is very clear. Those national coordination office needs to be established. Yeah. It's important because it really responds to making sure that the businessmen and women of this continent know where to go to, and also appreciate where their own governments are at in their readiness or preparedness for them to start activating and taking advantage of the agreement. So as it is right now, we've got some of our member states that have those national coordination offices. Okay. And Ghana, you know, being our host country, definitely has. Cote d'Ivoire has. Kenya recently just launched. And I was recently informed that even Nigeria has. What we are now trying to do as a secretary, and it's part and parcel of our responsibility as communication, is to work with those offices, primarily because, one, we need to ensure that we disseminate the information that reside in this secretariat for the benefit of those members. So it's very important for us to have that. We don't want to take it for granted that each and every member would even have access to the internet. So if, especially as an example, you've got women traders who might not even have the facility, but if they have that national coordination office, they can go there and get the information. So disseminating information from our side to those offices is important. But secondly, what is very, very critical is that those offices help to really mobilize the work that we are doing and the member states, the government. So whatever is agreed upon during negotiations, then they activate it on behalf of those member states. You will see, for example, in Cote d'Ivoire, at the level of appreciation and understanding of the role of this office, that the office itself reports directly to the Prime Minister. Therefore, it shows, it really, really shows
how important
the importance of those offices. Because if we are really going to take this beautiful opportunity of expanding and increasing and really developing the trade in this continent and seeing ourselves benefiting the businessmen and women of this continent, that decision and that level of interaction with the highest office in the land is important, because it helps to appreciate what could be the challenges, and for that office to also know what should be done to help the businessmen and women of that particular country. So from our side is the dissemination of information. Secondly, the coordination of the work. But thirdly is the advocacy. Not everybody will be the men and women of business that would participate in trade, but everybody in this continent need to see the bigger picture of us creating one single market one day.
And one of the good things I am noticing lately is also the fact that these national offices are launching their own national strategic plan. So Ghana did, and I think that from indications is the first country that did, and then it was followed, that was on Tuesday last week, and then it was followed by Kenya thereabout. And then I'm told that other countries are also following suit. How does that help?
It helps, because that's the office that also engage directly with the private sector in those countries. So they understand, they understand the needs of the private sector in that country. You know, they appreciate what are the challenges and what we as a secretariat, providing this platform of engagement and policy discussion, what we need to be responding to. But importantly, as I've indicated, they also could also help us as a secretariat to get to understand how we can help member states as an example, on customs issues. Maybe the biggest challenge in a certain region, and we can get that filler through those national offices, would be an issue of customs. Yeah. How do we as a secretariat then assist in empowering those member states, either through under the emblem of the regional bloc or individually? But it's important for us to have that. We don't. We're sitting beautifully in Ghana, and like I said, in a country that absolutely is taking advantage of the agreement, and we're working with the office. So it's important to have that two-way engagement between us and the private sector, and the private sector with us.
Yeah, and what coordination, what level of coordination are you having with these national offices? Well, those who have countries that have the national offices and countries that don't have the national offices, what efforts are you making from the Secretariat point of view to reach out to them and encourage them that, look, this is what would be good for you? Yeah.
Look, practically, I mean, right now we're working with the Ghana National Office on the guided trade, and it's a beautiful project. You know, I always say to people, give people a project to work towards. You will see the reliance and the interdependence that's needed. Even after the product or the project is becoming a success, those dependency, those relationships that have been crafted because of that project will obviously continue. Yeah. So we needed something like this at this moment, and the guided trade for us in particular as the Secretariat has amplified the need for coordination between ourselves and the national offices. That's number one. But secondly, what it also has done for us, just this week, we're able to also promote some of the work that has been done by those offices. In Cote d'Ivoire, for example, there's impetus for this phase where they're focusing on businesses that are owned by young people and women, and we're promoting that to showcase what the office is doing on our own platforms. So there is that interdependency and sharing of information already. My advice to those countries that haven't started creating this office is that please do, because it's very, very important. Yeah. Your businessmen and women need to know what this agreement is all about. Yeah. They need to know how they can benefit. But importantly, the support of their governments in activating and taking advantage of this new agreement that's going to make life-changing decision and impact on the continent, especially for the businesses of this continent.
Okay, so finally, what are we to expect going forward? Now we know that we have rules, we have your instruments, the rules of origin, we have e-tariff book, we have a guided trade. Can the continent start trading, or we should wait for your guided trade to end first?
My brother, as I said, guided trade is proof of concept. Those who are ready
can start trading.
They should start trading.
And they should just contact their national offices and they can start trading.
Absolutely. They
under
should
AfCFTA.
Under the AfCFTA.
So we have commenced officially trading under AfCFTA.
Absolutely, we have. And what's coming up for us, officially, we've got the Women and Youth Conference taking place from the 12th to the 13th and 14th in Tanzania.
The one in Tanzania?
In Tanzania. We're very excited about that. You know, we're looking at protocol that would really address some of the challenges that women and young people of this continent face. And we're hoping that out of that conference, that will come out of it would really have a big, big influence in the output, the last output of the protocol, that document that will then be negotiated by all member states to ensure that women of this continent do not feel disempowered, but importantly, that they're part and parcel of the table, they're sitting in that powerful table, and the decision makers for themselves and for their own protection. Not to make it difficult, but for the trade that they have been participating in to make it more seamless and really give them the guidelines through a transparent process, as we have now done with the instruments that we've launched. But for the young people of this continent, the innovators, you know, the outliers, those who think outside the box, to see themselves as part and parcel of this continent that aspires to see them contributing meaningfully in the trade of this continent and in building the economy of this continent. I always say to the colleagues, if you look at the industry that these young people are focusing on, those are industries that can give us as a continent leapfrog advantage than other continents. Yeah. We can see ourselves leapfrogging and really doing things better. Think about the creatives. Mm-hmm. We are endowed as the continent with talent. Wonderful, organic, natural talent. Young people of this continent, it's a blessing. Yeah. And it's literally, for me as a mother, I'm in awe to see, and there is hope that if this is done well and the young people understand what this agreement is all about and how they can benefit, change is coming.
Good luck, Ms. Grace. So the good news, we heard over there from Ms. Grace Koza, the head of communications at the AfCFTA Secretariat, spokesperson of the Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat there. The good news is that the continent of Africa is now ready. Commercially meaningful trading on the continent has just begun, because all the tools and instruments required for the continent to commence commercially meaningful trading have been made available by the AfCFTA Secretariat, seated on their websites, and you can from now begin to trade under the AfCFTA if you're coming or producing from AfCFTA party states. And you just have to contact your national office to know how you can register and take proper advantage of the AfCFTA. We thank you for tagging along. We thank you for praying with this particular vision. We're praying with the continent so that we are able to arrive at our destination peacefully. This is what we've all been praying for, that we are able to get to that point where we can trade commercially, meaningfully as a continent of Africa. And I have to say a big and special thanks to Adam Alkali in Nigeria. He has never missed any episode of the Single African Market. As a matter of fact, he has been prompting us sometimes when the show delays on the national television on cable in Nigeria there. So we thank you and the colleagues in Nigeria who have been, Dr. Okawa, for instance, religiously watching the president of the Association of Nigerian Businesses there. We thank you for watching. In Uganda, Andrew Othieno and his team, they are all following religiously. The continent of Africa needs your attention, and we need your prayers to make this work. Nevertheless, we are now going to start this particular assignment proper. For us on the Single African Market, we say this is just the beginning, because we are going to deal with the nitty-gritties of the agreement and how it benefits people. We don't want a situation where somebody will carry goods from Ghana to, say, Kenya and come back and say, look, I couldn't trade under the AfCFTA. We'll be taking your questions, your queries regarding this particular vision of Africa to integrate, and we want you to be part. That's why we're going to get very interactive with you going into the future. Let's now bring you the weather report for all African cities, the flight schedules that are leaving the commercial capital of Africa, and that is Accra, to the rest of the African cities. Also the forex rates for the African market, and then the AfCFTA status for countries on the continent of Africa. this is what the program has been about. We decided to track and follow this whole journey of Africa to integrate its market and create one market for itself. Since July 2021, we believed that it is important that businesses and the people of the continent of Africa get to know every step of the way what is being done so that they can properly understand the AfCFTA, where we are going and all of that. And again, it also puts the implementers on their toes, that the public is watching and they are seeking a lot more information and they want to see it get to a proper and good end that will benefit them. And indeed, today we can all smile together. We are here. All required tools and instruments have been made available, and the continent can begin commercially meaningful trading under the AfCFTA, the Continental Free Trade Agreement, by the African people and by the African nations. We thank you for tagging along this particular journey, and we continue to wish you good luck as you take advantage of the AfCFTA. Continue to tag along this platform. We're going to get interactive very soon, where we will hear from you your concerns. If you get to Seme Kraki border in Nigeria, for instance, you get to the Mombasa port, tell us what you're encountering. If people are not allowing you to take your goods out of the ports of Mombasa, even though you are operating and registered under the AfCFTA, we would like to hear. And this is where we're going to go. We're going to get deeper than we have already started. From the beginning, it was just tracking the process. Now we would deal deeper into the process and how it benefits you. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you same time next week.
There's a Africa righteous in the name of great Africa. It's a fight and conquer now.